Hey, second insight of the week. First one, I mean, it's on forgiveness, and honestly, I could go on for that topic for hours and hours and hours and talk to you about that and the process that I went through, but it's not the point. This is what's going to help you. And if you do have any more questions on forgiveness and how that works, because sometimes it can get a little misrepresented as to what the Lord's forgiveness means, as to what we believe it to be on a world type of understanding. I've learned that. It's taken a while, but I've learned that. So if you want any questions or you want any more advice, please just message me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. It's hard. And I was talking about serious hurt, but all hurt, it's all good. Anyway, we move on, right? We don't look back. We learn from looking back, and then we move forward with the knowledge we've gained and make it better, not bitter. That's the one. Okay, so we're going to look at verse 29, because this is where he goes on to talk about, first of all, in verse 20, he says that Isaac Morley should sell the farm. Now, interesting, that's where Joseph was living, so he just made him homeless again. So that's how they ended up in Hiram, Ohio. Anyway, I don't know what the temptation was, but he said that taking the farm away from you, sell it so that you're not tempted above what you're able to bear. So I don't know what the temptation was. I don't think it's recorded. But Isaac Morley, good man anyway. So then he talks about a few other people and what they should do. And they're talking more about their missions again. And he names some different individuals like Sidney Gilbert, like Neil K. Whitney, the people that we've talked about in previous weeks. But verse 29 says, and this is another one that's kind of, well known. There's a few ones in here. Anyway, says, wherefore, as ye are agents, ye are on the Lord's errand, and whatever ye do according to the will of the Lord is the Lord's business. So you are as agents, so you get to choose for yourself. You have choices to make. You're kind of like, think of a real estate agent. You're an agent, you have accountability unto yourself, but you're working for a larger purpose. That makes sense? Okay. But you're on the Lord's errand, and whatever you do according to the will of the Lord is the Lord's business. And pretty much everything, I would say, in this world is the Lord's business. His world, right? But yeah, if we're on the Lord's business, what are we doing? So what is it? What does being on the Lord's errand look like for you right now? Because this is when you're on the Lord's errand. What are you doing? What is that for you right now? So each of us have a place and are needed in our sphere of existence, right? So what does this mean for you right now? Is there more you can do? Is there less you can do? So you can focus on what your errand is. Because it's always sort of fluctuating, right? It's not a right or wrong. It's a fluctuation. It's always going to change depending on any given day, what comes up, what responsibilities are on. I saw a member of our ward on Sunday just running around just like, oh my gosh, good. And I'm just like, you have other people you can delegate to get some of this stuff done. For whatever reason, didn't do it and felt completely overwhelmed. So maybe that's their lesson of learning while they're on the particular errand they're on right now. But can you be more focused on what your errand is? Right? Because it can get lost in the day-to-day. You might have got an errand and thinking, oh, yep, that's what I've got to do. I've got to do that this year. I prayed at the beginning of the year. That's what the Lord said I need to do this year. And we're now into June. And you're like, I'm kind of a bit lost in what exactly that was and what I felt, because at the time it was New Year's and I only wrote half it down. And yeah, so like, could you be a little more focused on that? But life has so many overwhelming factors, and serving can seem just another thing in a pile of things. Focus on the important. Know what your errand is. Because sometimes it just seems like something else you got to do. Just another thing of all the things. So, focus on the important things. And you can ask, well, what's important? And you'll know. You pray about it. You're in tune with the Spirit. You'll know. And just do that. It's fine. Thomas S. Monson, he said, when we're on the Lord's errand, we are entitled to the Lord's help. Remember that. See? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're entitled to the Lord's help. And ask others to help you as well. You can delegate. Now, sometimes you can't always delegate everything. Sometimes in whatever calling you're in or whatever errand you're on, there is only you. But the Lord will help you. And He will send help if you need help and you ask for it. It might not be what you think it might be, and it might not be the desired help, but it will be help and it will work out. Sometimes it's just enough so you get through that next bit and you're thinking, oh, I really would have liked more relief from that, but no. But yeah, when we're on the Lord's errand, we're entitled to the Lord's help. Remember that. That's from Thomas S. Monson. Now, before we move on, because this one's shorter, I forgot the quote from the first one, so I'll say it here because it's still really good. Talking about forgiveness, Gordon B. Hinckley said, somehow forgiveness accomplishes miracles that can happen in no other way. And this is again talking how forgiveness is actually a healing thing. Forgiveness is about healing. It's a healing process, which might not have come to your thought process before. So think on that. But yeah, somehow forgiveness accomplishes miracles that can happen in no other way. So I'll leave you with that one. Think about what your errand is and what you're doing. How can you improve it? Because we can all improve. And remember, again, also, I gotta stress this because we talk about this a lot, but I will say it every single time because I have been feeling this again from people this last week and myself. Whatever happened in the past is in the past. We are not the same people. We don't beat up on ourselves for those things. We just do better today. We treat ourselves kinder, give ourselves more grace, and treat ourselves better today. And do better today, even if it's like this much more. This much more. Tiny little bits, right? Very important. Don't beat up on yourself because of the past. Just make improvements. That's it. It's all. It's effort, right? It's trying. It's effort. And that's all the Lord requires of us. All right. We're going to go into number 3, talking about what is required to do the Lord's work, what He wants from you. Ooh, are you fulfilling that? See you for number 3.